There are very few players during their careers, whilst playing, who become legends. And Gavaskar was one of them. He might have played a decade and a half, but even before that first decade came along, he had done enough to be treated and to be talked of a legend. What I remember of Sunny in the 30 years, 40 years that I've known him as a player, as a broadcaster, as a mentor, as I mean, you name it. We've lived with each other for those 30 years. We've not missed a beat in Indian cricket, whether it's on the field or off the field. And there's so much to learn when you see an individual of that stature. Not just in the dressing room, but just his mannerisms off the field as well. And you suddenly realize, what you thought of Gavaskar in the first 5 years you met him. Then what you thought of him 5 years later. Then you went on the broadcasting side and see the way, he's moved on. And he's still at it. In those 30 years, having covered cricket all around the world, having played cricket all around the world, having batted in probably every position that there is in cricket, all I'll say is I've not seen a better opening batsman. The three that come to mind, I would call greats in those 30 years, would be Greenidge, would be Gooch, Matthew Hayden. But this man stands alone, because he had a kind of watertight technique and defense, which was so much needed those days when you didn't have helmets, when you didn't have visors, you'd had a minimal of protective gear, you needed a rock-solid defense to be able to bat for 5 or 6 hours. Just because he didn't get hit as much as some of the other players did. People think, they don't rate him as a real gutsy cricketer. People like to see players being hit, see blood on the field, they come back, play, get 100. Fine, gutsy. What about the guy who never gets hit? Hardly gets hit, and then gets tons of runs the way he did. Hundreds after hundreds. And what amazed me was his hunger right through those playing days. You needed an opponent of stature, and you knew Shorty had arrived.